Right now at 6 on Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45.
Court declared mistrial.
After 4 days of jury deliberations, the judge declares a mistrial in Officer Randall Carrick's voluntary manslaughter case. We'll go live to Charlotte for the latest. Plus, round 2 at the Wyndham Championship is wrapping up. We'll go live to Sedgefield Country Club for the highlights. And a startling drop on Wall Street, a report from the New York Stock Exchange.
You're watching Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Sharon Stone. The judge declared a mistrial in Officer Randall Carrick's voluntary manslaughter trial. He was charged for shooting and killing Jonathan Ferrell, who was unarmed in 2013. This afternoon, the jury told the judge they are deadlocked in their decision with a vote of 8-4. Our reporter at the courthouse there, Sean Flynn, reporting that 8-4, the majority voting not guilty. We're going to go live now to our breaking news coverage happening right now on Time Warner Cable News.
Going through multiple pieces of evidence, so some
and
of
DNA
that,
explaining it, you know.
it's complicated.
When we had the forensic specialist up there explaining what DNA is, and she was 1 in a billion sure it was Ferrell's, you know.
And she's a scientist, and she explains things scientifically.
Exactly.
Well, not everyone else is scientist. The jury certainly isn't, so they're having to digest that information and try to understand it.
Sorry, that's the stuff that people at home don't see because they watch the TV shows, the crime dramas, and that's how they think that it is. And until you come into a courtroom and observe or get called for jury selection, even, you don't know the truth behind the judicial system.
It can be very eye-opening.
Yes.
Yeah, and we are still waiting to hear from the Ferrell family. We got word that they're about to come out. They're going to be outside the courthouse, and shortly after the Ferrell family talks, we will hear from Charlotte Mayor Dan Clodfelter as well as Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Chief Kerr Putney. A lot of the protesters they moved from 4th Street and McDowell to the courthouse, which is where the Ferrell family is about to talk. So hopefully things calm down a little bit so we can actually hear what the Ferrell family has to say about this entire process from day one until now. And actually, here comes the Ferrell family. This is Willie Ferrell, his brother, walking out next to his mother. You hear protesters cheering. We're going to take a listen.
So first, on behalf of the Ferrell family, obviously I'm Chris Chestnut, and we represent the Ferrell family in the civil case. Obviously this is a tough day for us. It's a heavy day. We want to thank the citizens of Charlotte. We want to thank all the supporters who've come out today to support justice for Jonathan. Today's outcome was not what we had hoped for. It's not what we expected, but it wasn't an acquittal either. And so we're standing here today in solidarity, asking, expecting, praying, and hoping that justice will befall Jonathan Ferrell, that there will be another trial, that more of the evidence that is there will be presented, and that the jury, after hearing all of the evidence, would be compelled for a guilty verdict.
What evidence was not presented?
Well, I think there were two things. First and foremost, I think the video was mischaracterized, Mr. Stroud. There's also video reenactment of Officer Carrick, where he reenacts the shooting days after the shooting that is wholly inconsistent with what happened on the video. So it goes to the credibility or lack thereof of Officer Carrick. The jury didn't see that. So I think there were a number of things. There are other instances of evidence that the jury could have seen that they didn't, that I think would have gone to the character of Mr. Carrick, especially considering that the defense spent so much time trying to personalize him and portray him as a family man. And then also they played the race card. I mean, the defense counsel played the race card. They tried to put it on the prosecution, but they really did. And Jonathan Ferrell was an all-American guy. He's black, white, Asian. He's an all-American guy. They played the race card. They tried to portray him as a black thug. That's not consistent with his character. And so they were able to argue, consequently, make arguments that were not consistent with not only Jonathan's character, but weren't consistent with the evidence.
Georgia, do you think you could go through this again, honestly?
Yes, I can.
Why? Tell us how you're feeling right now, and what were you feeling the second you heard the judge say mistrial?
I felt that I got to keep fighting. We must get justice. Jonathan was an innocent bystander looking for help and killed. So we got to stop them from killing our children.
That's right. Our understanding is that the vote was 8-4 for acquittal. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, we are aware of a lot of things, but like my mother said, we must continue to fight. We will fight because Jonathan cannot do it because Jonathan was shot 10 times unarmed. So we must fight justice for Jonathan Ferrell.
Lily, tell me how your family's been very respectful through all of this. How are you feeling this afternoon? I know it must have been tough.
Of course it's tough, but just like I said, when I was younger, me and Jonathan made a promise to one another that we would fight for each other no matter what. We will always defend each other. So as my brother is dead in the grave right now, I'm defending him. I am walking for him. I am fighting for him day in and day out, trying to get justice for my brother.
Are you guys concerned about violence in Charlotte?
To retry?
No, because we're not violent people.
We're not worried about violence.
The violence in Charlotte we're concerned about is Officer Carrick's violence.
That's right.
That's the violence we're concerned about.
Our family don't show violence. Our family's not nothing about violence. This entire time we've been up here, we always carried ourselves in the highest. The person that we try to follow in the walk never was about violence. We're not about violence. We're not violent people. Everybody who walk with us and try to be represented with us is not about violence. We never once said nothing about violence.
You have been very peaceful and your family's been very respectful. Tell us what message you want to convey to the city of Charlotte and to people who see this and are supporting you and feel unhappy with this outcome.
Continue to pray. Continue to fight the battle. Continue to live and make sure that Jonathan Ferrell is not walking in your house. Make sure he's not eating at your table because Jonathan Ferrell is still living. Because there's a lot of innocent people. There's a lot of all-American people. I am Jonathan Ferrell.
All right.
I am Jonathan Ferrell.
I am Jonathan.
There's a lot of people.
It was supposed to be manslaughter charges or murder charges.
We leave that up to the lawyers and everybody else. God have control of all of that. God, no matter what nobody say, no matter what charges no one have, and a lot of stuff that people don't understand is your conscience is something serious.
Yes, sir.
That's something serious.
Has the state given you any indication that they're willing to pursue this? Have you spoken to those prosecutors?
No, we have spoke with them, and just like we tell you guys that we'll continue to sit and fight. We will let them take care of the business, and we have everything taken care of because God has control of everything.
And so you asked us what we needed. You asked us what we need from the citizens of Charlotte, those who support us. We need you to petition the Attorney General and keep the pressure on them to retry this case. Because the resources are there, and so hopefully we won't hear an argument that there aren't sufficient resources to try this case again. There was not an acquittal. It was a hung jury. The case needs to be tried again until either there is a guilty verdict or an acquittal. So this case has to be tried again. We need the citizens to support us in that. You have a First Amendment right to write letters, to make calls, engage civically. It does not require violence, but certainly you have a voice, and it needs to be spoken. Because listen, this was Jonathan Ferrell, but he was unarmed. And there are a lot of unarmed men of every color walking around the city of Charlotte. Yes, and if this behavior is tolerated, there may be a lot, of other victims.
It sounds like you got the indication that they are not going to pursue a second trial. Is that true?
We certainly haven't gotten an answer. So, we've asked for a commitment to have a second trial.
When you asked for their commitment?
They don't know.
Did they tell you which way the jury was leaning?
No, we haven't seen an official tap of the jurors. It was 8-4.
Video evidence wasn't included. Would you like to see a new team prosecute Mr. Carrick?
Absolutely.
We want to see all the evidence. We want the jury to see all the evidence. And I think that this is a very unique case. And it takes an aggressive team. So if perhaps we need some folks from Washington, D.C., from the federal government to come down and try the case, whoever can get the conviction, whoever can present all of the evidence. And this prosecution team did a decent job. The resources to them, I think, were limited. I don't think they had all the resources they needed. But what I do know is that the jury did not see all the evidence. And I think if they had, that the vote would have been different.
George and Willie, you sat there every day. What do you think 8 people did not hear that you think in another trial they would get or hear for the different outcome? What do you think after you sat there day in and day out? What do you think 8 people were not convinced of?
We have no clue. We cannot think for 8 people. We cannot think for 12 people. We only can think for ourselves and continue to hope that everybody think positive and along this way. And then we pray that we get this retrial, and we pray that everything stay peaceful, and we pray that everybody continue to live the life and not have to be shot 12 times, shot at 12 times, to be shot 10 times, searching for help.
Has anybody from the Carrick side reached out to you at all since this, or have you reached out to them, or did you say anything to them after?
We pray for them every night. We reach out for them,
but they never reach out.
That's reaching out. Praying for somebody that's reaching out.
And kind of what's shocking is the lack of remorse. I mean, we have not seen the lack of remorse from the Carrick family. And certainly we've always been respectful, deferential to them. Ms. Farrell has always prayed for Officer Carrick. Sure doesn't seem like he was praying for us. And so the lack of remorse is concerning, especially that this is a sworn officer who was sworn to keep the peace, to support the citizenry. He's killed an unarmed citizen and yet still does not have remorse for the family. It's concerning that he could have such a demeanor given the circumstances.
Church, as a mother sitting through all this and seeing the pictures, you said you feel you could sit through this again. You feel like you absolutely would sit through this again. Where does this leave your family now? You're sitting and waiting.
We're going to continue to fight for Jonathan. Justice for Jonathan.
Continue to fight, continue to pray. It's something that we will do until everything gets taken care of. But before we leave, we would like to thank the city of Charlotte. We would like to thank all the supporters, everybody who's been covering the case, everybody that's been helping, everybody that's been praying around the country, around the world, who's been sending me all the positive and negative things that let me know that people is attracted to Jonathan, and that let me know that Jonathan case is being heard. And everybody, please continue to not promote violence, because our family is not violent. Jonathan was not violent. Thank everybody. God bless you.
Okay, that was...
Okay, to recap, the judge in the trial of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg police officer charged with voluntary manslaughter has declared that mistrial. Officer Randall Carrick was charged in the shooting death of Jonathan Farrell September 2013. During the time between the shooting and the trial, Carrick was placed on unpaid leave. You just heard from Farrell's family. You heard from Jonathan Farrell's mother and brother, as well as an attorney who represented the family during their civil suit. Now, we heard the family say they do want another trial. The mother said Jonathan was an innocent bystander who was killed. And we also heard them thank their supporters, ask others to petition the Attorney General to keep this case going. As far as an official word from the state on whether they will try this case again, we have not heard. Do know that the family would like that. And we heard our reporter Sean Flynn tell us that the jury was 8-4 in favor of an acquittal. So we'll have to see how that factors into the state's official decision. We're going to continue to follow this story. We're going to have an update for you tonight at 11. We'll be right back here at 6 o'clock with the rest of the news making headlines. Round 2 of the Wyndham Championship is just wrapping up. Our JV Ricks is following the tournament, joins us live from Sedgefield Country Club with some of the highlights. JV.
Hey Sharon, after an impressive round 1 of 64, Tiger Woods not only had a chance of making the Cup going into this weekend, but he also put himself in position of being in one of those final groups come Saturday. Now Tiger also teed off this morning, or this afternoon I should say, around 12:50, and of course he had a massive following throughout the day. A sellout crowd of 30,000 came out to Sedgefield Country Club. The fans, they were as passionate as I've seen them my 4 years covering this event, and he definitely gave them plenty to cheer about. After getting his second bogey on hole number 7, he would follow that up with a birdie on 8. Tiger would then make the turn after parring 9 and go bogey-free the remainder of his round, including an eagle on 15, which gave him a share of the lead. He would then go bogey-free from that point forward, and believe it or not, Tiger Woods is the co-leader of the 2015 Wyndham Championship heading into the weekend.
Yeah, I scored well today. I wasn't quite as sharp as I was yesterday. I kept leaving my iron shots. I kept hitting above the hole. I couldn't quite get the ball underneath the hole where I could have some aggressive looks. And you know, most of my putts were dying, and had to be very patient with it and just make sure I got my good speed. But I made a couple of those downhill putts. But I wish I could give myself a few more uphill looks where I could be pretty aggressive.
All right, now Tiger Woods was 5 under for the day, just 1 stroke less than what he scored yesterday for round 1. But again, the story of the day, he is the co-leader with Tom Hoge heading into the weekend. But it was Brandt Snedeker who had the round of the day at 9 under. We'll hear from him coming up later in sports. For now, we are live here at the Sedgefield Country Club. JB Ricks, Time Warner Cable News on ABC 45.
Thanks, JB. And 1,800 volunteers have been working alongside Sedgefield and Wyndham staff to greet the fans as soon as they arrive. This year, fans get a passport to Wyndham. They can stop by 4 different areas to receive a stamp on it to possibly earn a ticket upgrade. And the key to win at the Aspen Lodge is decked out like a cabin with video games and a prize vending machine.
I just put it in the door and then it it's turned green and red, and then it opened.
It was exciting. I think he was excited. He was surprised. The bell started going off, so he was definitely surprised.
Fans walk around. They find opportunities to donate to help fight hunger. They can also stop by the Wall of Champions to see previous tournament winners. Well, the Dow dropped more than 500 points today. We'll have an update with our crew from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Here's tonight's Carolina Minute. Rowan County authorities identified the man who drowned in High Rock Lake last night as 49-year-old Ted Gardner of Salisbury. Family members told investigators Gardner went for a swim just before midnight. He swam out about 50 yards. The family then heard him call out as if he were distressed and going under. But when he didn't resurface, they called 911. Searchers found Gardner's body this morning. A Robinson County community is mourning the loss of a former commissioner, his wife and son. They were all killed in a drunk driving accident. Family and friends said their final goodbyes to Tommy, Joyce, and Jamie Wellington today. 31-year-old Matthew Allen English has been charged in connection to the wreck. Unemployment went up slightly in North Carolina last month. New numbers released this morning from the Department of Commerce show July's unemployment rate was 5.9%, up 1/10 from June's revised rate. The July unemployment rate is more than half a point higher than the national average. These stories and more are available anytime on Time Warner Cable News. As we said, stocks just took a plunge today. Let's get the latest on the economy now from our team on Wall Street.